Welcome, everyone. Welcome once again to this week's edition of the Still Real Tuss Show, available for download at wheelhouseradio.com, wrestlechat.net, twfnews.com, and camelclutchblog.com. I am one half of the Wrestling Podcast Tag Team Champions of the World. I am the champ, Jeff Peck. And joining me this week, filling in once again for Eric Ardulo, the one and only Captain Obvious. Captain, how are we this week, my friend?
I'm doing really good. There's no breaking Hardy news, so Today is just a you wanted the leader of the Redneck Revolution on the show, and I'm here, and I am not suffering from anal bleeding, so we're good to go.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad the Redneck Revolution, or whatever nation you're going to call it, Redneck Nation, Redneck Revolution, it is in the house. Captain Obvious back with us for a second straight week. Eric Ardulo could not be with us. No TNA news either to talk about. Typically when we have the captain on here, like he said, there's either some breaking Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy news or even some TNA news. And we're not really going to be touching upon any one of those subjects on this week's show. It's mainly WWE talk. We're going to talk a little bit about, and we're going to preview and predict this Sunday's WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Kind of hard to believe that we're already talking about another WWE pay-per-view. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about the thoughts on WWE and possibly cutting back a little bit on their pay-per-view schedule. We're going to look at the SummerSlam buy rate and wonder if maybe CM Punk, maybe he's not the guy that we all thought he was and we're very excited about a couple months ago back in June. But to begin this week's show, Captain, some interesting stories I saw regarding Stone Cold Steve Austin, available at WrestleChat.net. Particularly two different stories, two different articles that were printed. Austin making the rounds. I guess he's promoting his latest movie, Tactical Force. Both these stories, by the way, can be available, like I said before, WrestleChat.net. In it, Steve Austin talking about the current WWE roster, and let me read some of the quotes that he has in here. On his list of the WWE roster, he has CM Punk. On top of it, he says, "Well, I love CM Punk. That guy is already a star, and he's just breathed a much-needed breath of fresh air into the wrestling business." Austin said, "He's been working for over 10 years. I'm a big fan of his love, his skills, love his promos." We're going to talk a little bit more about Austin's thoughts about CM Punk a little bit here, but we're going to kind of get down to the nitty-gritty here in about a second or two. The WWE Hall of Famer then mentions Wade Barrett, Daniel Bryan, and the current superstar most often compared to him, Randy Orton, a.k.a. the Viper, also known as the Texas Rattlesnake. Austin, however, feels the Viper still needs to work on his character and promo ability. He says, "Of the other guys, I'm still waiting for Wade Barrett to grab me by the throat and let me know who Wade Barrett is. Daniel Bryan could continue to move up the card." Austin said, "I'm interested to see where Randy Orton goes next. His promos need work, and right now, he's a little one-dimensional. The crowds are digging him, but there's still another step on the ladder for him to climb on." We're going to talk next about another comment he has, Austin, about a current WWE superstar as well. But let's focus in on here on his thoughts about Randy Orton, Captain. Really honest remarks from Steve Austin regarding much of the talent roster, and something that fans on the internets, here on the show, Eric and I, at times can be held accountable for, is our lack of love for Randy Orton. We've always said one-dimensional. His promos are kind of similar in nature all the time. And here's Steve Austin, a Hall of Famer, possibly one of the best wrestlers of all time, if not the greatest wrestler of all time. And here he is saying that one of WWE's top stars, Randy Orton, is too one-dimensional and his promos need work. Captain, do you agree with what Steve Austin says, or is he just maybe being a little jealous of the success of Randy Orton?
No, I think he's right in a lot of ways. Randy Orton is really one-dimensional. Like you said, his promos basically all sound the same. He has that slow, angered, just kind of monotone voice. And, a couple weeks ago we saw when he actually showed excitement in the ring after hitting an RKO. People were like nuts for it. They were like, we thought that might be the beginning of an evolution of his character, and it just went right back to where it was, where it's still just that very monotone voice. And I know WWE's been trying to push him into that Steve Austin mold, but the difference between Austin and Orton is Austin always had a strong heel to work against, where Randy Orton really hasn't had that outside of the CM Punk feud.